The fighter jet in my simulation is oriented in the wrong way. I better change the quaternion. 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 This wonderful word has been coming into my life lately because I have been working in video game engineering or video game development where quaternions come into play. Because I am trying to simulate the motions and positions and orientations of objects in a simulated 3D space. And when you do that, quaternions are super useful. So not only are they useful in video games where we simulate 3D space, they're interesting anywhere we have to simulate or analyze stuff in 3D space, like in aerospace engineering, where you have fighter jets or spaceships oriented and angled in all sorts of directions and positions. It's also useful in other physics fields, and I saw in neural engineering and in other software engineering fields or control engineering. So it's kind of pervasive, and it's at the edge of our mathematics that we normally have to study in college as an engineer. So I never studied quaternions when I was in school, but maybe I would if I did more robotics or if I did more software engineering or more physics. A quaternion is a mathematical concept that in real life represents or can represent the angular position of an object in space or the rotational position of an object in space, how something is oriented. Like, imagine that fighter jet that I said in the very beginning. Or even better yet, imagine a spaceship out in space. Well, you can rotate that spaceship, on its side. You can roll it back. You can spin it around and around. Like, there are 3 different ways you can rotate that spaceship. And there are intuitive ways to understand that. Pilots might understand it as roll, pitch, and yaw, but and people can understand that too. If anyone has played any video games, you understand that. But mathematically, roll, pitch, and yaw, those 3 angles, aren't always very good. So instead, really smart people, not me, figured out that quaternions can be used to represent the angular position of something in space as well. And in fact, if you look at the math, that's really neat. Quaternions have a real part, and they also have an imaginary part. But going beyond the real and imaginary numbers that we might have learned in high school, quaternions have 3 imaginary parts. So it's not just A plus BI. You've got A plus BI plus CI plus DI. Isn't that weird? You have a real part, and then you have these 3 imaginary parts, and altogether they create a quaternion. That's what the qua comes from. You've got these 4 parts. And that is also why it can be used to represent rotational position, because it has information in it that can tell you about those angular positions. Just know that the 4 parts, the 4 numeric parts of the quaternion don't directly correlate to a specific angle. Like the quaternion, the parts of the quaternion by itself, you can't use that, at least for our calculations. I can't use that in my video game. I need all 4 parts to determine the orientation of my object in 3D space. You can't splice up my quaternion. You got to use the whole thing. So quaternions are awesome little things in math and complex math, literally with imaginary and real numbers, and they're awesome things in aerospace engineering, systems engineering, physics, anywhere where you have to talk about the complex coordinates of something in space, including video games. That is our engineering word of the day, quaternion. Hi, this is Pius Wong, your host of Engineering Word of the Day, and also host of the associated awesome education podcast called the K-12 Engineering Education Podcast, straightforwardly named. Go on over to k12engineering.net to find out more about that podcast and more engineering educational topics. Thanks.